Hello everyone, I'm Wang Xiunan from Xinhua News Agency. Tea is a kind of drink that originated in China but popular in the world. It has a very long history and is still loved by many people from different countries. In order to let people know more about Chinese tea, Beijing Chaoyang District held the first International Tea Culture Festival in Beijing Prince Mansion on the Liangma River, hoping to spread the knowledge of Chinese tea to the foreigners living in Beijing. And today, we are very lucky to invite Ma He from Afghanistan. Hello, Ma He.
Hey there.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Say hello to everyone.
Hey everyone, my name is Wahed. I'm from Afghanistan, but in China, I go by my Chinese name, Ma He. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be in this beautiful event, in this beautiful Liangma River with you, and I'm looking forward to learn more about the Chinese tea culture.
Yeah. So, have you ever tried Chinese tea, and have you ever heard about Chinese tea culture?
Oh, definitely. I have been living in China for almost a decade now. And it's impossible not to try Chinese tea. I mean, every time you go to a new place, a new city, or even to go meet friends, they offer you tea. That's a sign of hospitality. That's how people welcome their guests in China.
Yeah.
And every time I go, I get to try and experience a new type of tea. And I would honestly say each one is better than the other one, right? So I think there's a lot of things to learn about Chinese tea, and it is such a big part of the culture. It is ingrained in, I would say, in daily lives of a lot of people, including a lot of my foreign friends, which actually most of them study in the Beijing Traditional Medicine University. And every time I go meet them, I was like, Ma He, you know, tea is very good for your health, and they introduce different types of tea for me. So yes, I'm very lucky to have been exposed to this beautiful culture.
So actually, Chinese traditional tea art includes many things, and in it, like we have the tea brewing ceremony. It is a very unique ceremony. So, have you ever tried?
I think yes and no.
How?
Yes, because I think I have been to a lot of tea shops, and I have been to a lot of different places, and I have seen them having shows about tea. And even one time I went to Chengdu, and a friend invited me to a beautiful tea shop, and I saw this lady was preparing tea, and she had a lot of different like pots and different small cup sizes. And I was very surprised. I said, in our country, all we do is we just put the tea leaves inside a glass or maybe like a teapot, and then after 2 minutes, it's done. But in here, it's a whole show. It's a very beautiful, like, I would say, like demonstration of art and culture. But that time, I would think I was too young, and my Chinese was not that good. So I didn't understand a lot of things that they were explaining to me. I hope today I get to learn more about the tea culture, how it brews, and yes, I'm just very excited to see what this event have in it for us.
Yeah, great. Now we are going inside to the Beijing Prince Mansion, and then we are going to see how the traditional tea art and the brewing ceremony is going. Okay?
Yes, looking forward to it.
Let's go. So the location of the event is a sign of the combination of tradition and modernity. So this is Beijing Prince Mansion, or we can call it the Prince Xiunan Mansion. So Ma He, do you know who the prince is?
I actually don't. It's funny because I've been to this place many times, and I know Wang Fu, so there's a Wang inside the name, so it definitely belongs to a prince or a king, but I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. So I checked about the information about this palace before. So maybe I can tell you a little bit. The Prince Xiunan was one of the 8 iron-cap princes when the Qing dynasty found in 17th century. So the iron-cap prince actually means that his title could be passed on forever through generations. So the palace, this palace building is a typical Qing Dynasty royal residence style. So which can make people feel the majesty of Qing Dynasty architecture art. So now the building is close to the Liangma River, which is a landmark area of growing leisure and fashion trends emerging in Beijing in the last 2 years. So it's a very thoughtful choice to hold the event here. I know that you've lived in Chaoyang district for a while. So do you often come to Liangma River?
I don't think I'm going to Liangma River. Liangma River is coming to us. It's expanding every single day.
Yeah.
I remember back in old days, my understanding of Liangma was just the Liangma metro station.
Yeah.
But now it starts all the way from, I would say even like, some parts of Salington goes by the Liangma River,
Yes.
Liangma station, all the way to Chaoyang Park and now to Zhongwangfu. So first it's expanding. So almost every day I either pass by it or I meet some friends near the river. And there's a lot of nice restaurants right now. Especially in summer, it's a beautiful place to sit down with your friends and grab some food, grab some dinner and talk. And for the mornings. Even sometimes I'm trying to talk to my friends, maybe like during weekends or in the mornings we can go for a run. Or these days I like to play chess. So I'm really hoping that I can invite some of my friends to play chess with me on the riverside. Because it's now, I think Liangma is such a beautiful place that it added new personality to Chaoyang and to the people of Chaoyang,
Yeah.
Every time when you live in a city and it has a new, beautiful, functioning I would say sightseeing spot, it unlocks new hobbies. So for example, before I never thought of like going on a run by the river, but now we have it, so we can do it, right? Or before we never thought about having a picnic with friends.
Yeah.
But now you have the river, you have the park, and especially with this nice weather, I think there's a lot to do near Liangma, and maybe it might be a good option to just rent a place near there.
Yeah. So now maybe we can experience the traditional Chinese way of making tea in Song Dynasty.
And if I'm not mistaken, Song Dynasty was how long ago?
Maybe around 1,000 years ago.
So now we are able to go back in time and experience how the tea
Yes.
was made almost 1,000 years ago.
Yes.
All right.
Now here is 郝老师您好。
你好，你好。
今天辛苦您给我们做一下展示。
好，我们第一步先要把这个竹筅和盏温热一下，叫做润筅温盏。
So to wash the tea set and to heat them up.
对，它其实不是洗，它是让这个竹丝过热水以后，会激发它的弹性，有点像我们运动之前要热身一样。
I think that's very interesting because I saw like in different dynasties they all use similar tools, specifically this bamboo. I don't know even how to say it in English, but it's very
Yeah.
interesting to look at,
Yeah.
好，盏和筅温热完以后，就可以开始投茶粉了。我用的茶粉是仿宋代的宫廷贡茶的工艺原理来做的，所以它其实有一些发灰，就是它不那么绿，因为它的宋代当时宫廷贡茶它的工艺比较复杂，这个宋徽宗当时写《大观茶论》中，他就提到墨虽灰，受汤则白，所以当时反而色泽越偏灰的茶粉，它的品质可能会更高。
So the powder is actually the Song Dynasty style, and it may looks like a little bit gray, yeah. So, but after he makes to foam it up, the foam will be very white.
It's very interesting, It's like my understanding always was like tea is tea leaves.
Oh,
And it's the first time I'm seeing tea powder.
Yeah.
And especially in this color. Now, we know that today's tea is replicating 1,000 years old,
Yeah.
the Song Dynasty time, right? So back then, they had the capability to make tea into powder and store it in that way.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. It has such a beautiful color,
对，所以宋代的跟 根据茶的制作工艺，它会有一个大致的时代标准，就是它贵白，就是在宋代的茶的品评标准中，它是以颜色为首要标准，就是越白越好。所以，不同的工艺会导致茶有不同的颜色，就像我们现在的制茶工艺也会导致茶汤有各种各样的色泽。那么宋代它是以白为贵，因为它的墨帛呈现出的状态会比较白、比较细，所以宋代经常会把高品质的茶形容成像云、像雪、像牛奶，就是这个原因。
So people in Song Dynasty, they like the color of the foam that makes from the powder, the tea powder. So they like the color of white. Yeah, they think the white color of foam of tea powder means the higher quality.
对，所以我刚刚做的这一步就叫做调膏，就是把茶粉先调成膏状。所以我现在要分出一部分茶膏来，相当于做我的末。所以我刚刚这个调膏的过程就相当于作画之前要研墨一样。
So he prepared the tea powder now here, like to prepare the ink for the painting.
It's very interesting. It actually looks like a painting, like an ink for a painting.
Yeah.
And it's like I honestly didn't expect it that that's how the tea will be made before coming here. You know, because when you go to different places, different cities, you get to experience how different types of tea are made. And there's so many different varieties, and all of them have such a rich background and history.
Yes.
It almost is like going back in time, and I can actually imagine back in old days people how they used to make and how this was such a amazing craft.
对，所以现在墨分完了，我就要做纸，就是这个茶膏它是不同的状态，所以茶膏相当于墨，茶末就相当于纸，所以都是用茶和水完成，中间也不会添加任何的东西，所以它其实只是茶不同的状态而已。
So now he need to infuse the water into the tea powder, so that he said that he can make it as a painting paper for him to draw. Oh, now he heat the water.
If I'm not mistaken, why we use such bamboo tools to stir is also to have for the tea to be able to breathe and get more air and more oxygen.
Yeah. Oh, it's turning into white now.
我每一步加水，它会越来越白，越来越细，所以总共要加7次水，所以叫7汤点茶法。
So he need to infuse water for 7 times, and every time he add water, the foam will be whiter.
It's very interesting, you know, when we started, it started with almost, I would say, like dark green, and now we're gonna have white tea.
Yeah.
But that's what I think tea represents in China. It's not just about drinking, it's about experiencing, and it's about seeing it with your own eyes, tasting it. It almost puts all of your senses to use.
Yeah.
And I really like how there's almost every single thing, every single action, every single step that he takes while preparing and making this tea, it has a purpose. It has a function to make either the color, the taste, or the quality of the tea better, which is such a unique way that also these techniques, this culture has been preserved for almost 1,000 years. I don't think that happens
对，
in any other country.
我现在点到第5汤的这个步骤，有一些细小的墨帛都会挂在盏壁上不落下去。宋代人管这个效果叫摇盏，就是摇住的意思。所以这也是高品质茶的体现。宋代人用点茶这个方法，其实也是在检验茶汤内含物质的丰富程度，也是在品评这个茶的好坏。
So now you can see some of the foams are clean to the cup. So it means that the tea powder's quality is very high, because maybe if the foams couldn't clean to the cup, then maybe it's not good enough.
That's very interesting. That's how you can also understand about the different qualities, different types of hat. It's almost like a magic show, It's like there's so much, so many different steps into preparing it, and then you saw with different colors, and it's basically an art, but it's also a magic,
Yeah.
对，跟好的孔酒会挂壁也很像。对。
So it's a little bit like a good wine, because good wine they have the same.
But there's sometimes it also makes us appreciate. Most of the times we get our tea served to us, we don't have the opportunity to experience how it was made, the techniques, the craft, the history, everything that went into preparing this tea.
Yeah.
And that's what I say is like a lot of the times we take culture in a lot of things around us, Xinhua. We take it for granted.
Yeah.
But this reminds us to really experience and know that there's a lot of artistry.
Yes.
Is taking place while we're waiting for our tea.
好，现在纸也做完了，墨也分完了，我就开始作画了。
Now he's gonna painting. He's actually used the foam as the paper, and the tea powder as the paintings, the color. So now he's drawing maybe like a landscape. Yeah, a landscape painting.
That's beautiful. It reminds me a little bit of coffee as well, especially like latte. It has a foam, and then you have also latte art, and people design like different pictures on top of it. Even like so, it's very similar to that, but with much more richer history. So it's very interesting to see how. I think in some ways back in old days, as cultures intertwine and different. I would say how we consume coffee and how it all mixes up,
Yeah.
对，它跟咖啡拉花确实很类似，但是茶上作画跟我们现在的咖啡拉花最根本一个区别在于，咖啡拉花它是要把奶沫倒在咖啡上，但是我是用同样的茶来完成，所以我在完成画面以后，这个茶的味道还是原来的味道，它不会改变茶原本的味道，这个是跟咖啡拉花最本质的区别，不在于它的技巧。
So the difference between what he is doing now and the latte of the coffee, because if you need to make the latte, you need to infuse milk into the coffee, right? But now he actually don't add anything else, just water into the tea powder.
Yes, and I think that also the tea keeps its original taste. You're not adding extra flavor. You're not adding extra stuff into it. So you will still be able to experience the good tea that takes very long to prepare and experience all the tastes and flavors, and don't lose anything from the high quality teas. And I think that's where like tea in China, it transcends from a drink into a culture, because there's different aspects of culture is actually infused into it, from how it's prepared to how it's now turned into a canvas, which is we basically turn a tea into a painting.
Yes.
So it's not only, I would say like the tea culture in the whole process, it's very multifunctional. And I think that's how back in old days people were so very keen and enjoying tea a lot, because you go to a place, you basically have a show for you.
Yeah. And I know that in Afghanistan you drink tea too, right?
We do drink tea a lot, but I think we're very quick when at how we prepare our tea. It's like very simple way. You boil water, you put the tea leaves, you wait for a while, done. That's all. There's not much, I would say, techniques needed in order to prepare an Afghani tea. Maybe that's why we appreciate it. But in Afghanistan, it's not about how we prepare tea, it's about who we drink with and who we share this cup of tea with. So I would say that's like that aspect of it. But in China, it's much more. It's like about the art of it.
Yeah.
It's not only about who you share with, but it's also about how you present this tea.
我听懂了。其实，他刚刚说的意思我很明白，但是我们尤其是在宋代，包括传统社会中，他其实评价的主体是文人。就是这些读书人，包括官员、皇帝，所以它不像我们现在的评价体系会有所谓的专业人士。当时所谓的专业人士，他可能本身他具备艺术家的身份，或者是学者的身份，甚至是这个统治阶级的身份。所以当时的茶的评判，包括茶艺的展现，都是由这一个阶层的人来完成的。所以它跟我们现在的评价体系是有一些很大的不同。
Yeah, so in old days, the people who will tell everybody that this kind of way of making tea is good way and or is a bad way is those who like the governors or like the noble class or something like that. So it's a little bit different from now because now we have like expertise to try to tell you how we make the tea in ancient times.
I think that's also what makes it very different from what we have now in the past. Is in the past, the tea used to be prepared by artists.
Yeah.
Now we have the tea prepared by, let's say, a chef in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Or like maybe a barista. Or maybe we directly get it from some fast food chains or like fast tea shops these days actually too, right? So I think that what makes it very different. In the past, the tea was prepared by artists. So they have to put on a very beautiful display of art on how it's created. It has to have a story. It needs to be make people have a deeper connection with the art that's being produced in front of them. And today, we don't have that many artists who follows this path, although we have quite a lot of them, but it still is quite a luxury to be able to come and experience. But I think in the era of internet, and that's why we are lucky to have like, an audience and they are able to look at this tea as well.
好了，我们给大家展示一下
Yeah, the painting
一
is
盏可以喝的山水画。
Wow. Maybe he can tell us a little bit more about the painting.
有一个垂钓者，然后他在这个独钓寒江雪，然后有树木，有山石，然后它展现的是我们传统绘画中的一个墨分五色的一个概念，就是茶汤的浓淡其实也会展现在画面上，造成它的层次。所以山水画呈现在茶汤上其实比较复杂的，所以当时的文人也具备一些艺术创作的一个水准，所以当时文人在茶上玩这一类的游戏就叫做茶戏，或者就叫汤戏。它是一种文人墨客玩的游戏。
So this painting is actually like a poetry in Chinese, ancient poetry, because you can see the man is on the table, is on the boat and do the fishing, and the tree here and the mountains, because the poetry is like I don't know how to translate accurately, but this is actually comes from a ancient poetry from China.
所以我们等一下可以品饮一下，这盏茶是可以喝的因为就算这个画面我们现在不动它的话，它呈现在茶上的时间也很短，大概只能维持半小时到45分钟左右的时间。古籍记载这个时间也是很短的，所以不喝也是浪费所以我们等一下可以看这个画面幻灭以后，也同样可以饮用。
So this painting actually couldn't last for a very long time. Maybe it only could last for about 30 or 45 minutes, because as the foams just goes away and then the painting goes away.
I think one of the most interesting thing for me, the whole process has been it's very peaceful. From the color, from how it's made, I think the culture of tea, specifically in Song Dynasty and even now, it represents harmony.
Yeah.
It makes you feel very calm. It makes you feel connected with the nature. And it is true because tea directly comes from the nature. And that's why even the color of it, the painting also represents a very beautiful natural scenery we have. have bow, we have clouds, we have tree, we have rivers. And I think that's the beauty of the tea culture, as we said before. It combines and infuses different types of art that we have, including the handcraft of it, how it's being presented, so, and also how it's being painted, and how while you're drinking you're also listening, so it's almost not drinking a tea but being a part of the play. And that makes it very unique, and that makes it much more, I would say, memorable and long lasting. So you're not only drinking a tea, but you're part of a cultural experience that will have a long lasting impact on you. It's beautiful.
好，我们现在喝一下。现在这个画面就会幻灭掉了，因为在喝之前还需要调匀一下。
So now the painting goes away.
But it's still quite white.
Yeah.
I think if I haven't missed it, I think right now he had it 5 times the water. It has to be 7 times, right? You have to add water at least 7 times.
Yeah, but he just infused sometimes before he began to paint.
刚才这是第几次？
这应该是第8次。
第8次 ，Alright. So it's only
因为点完这盏茶是7次，因为这个是源于宋徽宗的7堂点茶法，因为。
I think that's one of the other things that I always tell my friends around me, as like sometimes especially in big cities, in cities like Beijing and Chaoyang district, the life is very fast. We get distracted by a lot of things, and having the opportunity to sit down, have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, and relax and experience art and be a part of this artistry is quite, I would say, a very unique experience, and a very, I think it's very cherishable.
现在我的分法呢，就是只分墨泊出来喝，跟宋徽宗当时的喝法是一致的。他认为茶汤点出的墨泊是精华，所以大家等一下可以趁热喝，就是大口的喝。你可以提醒他一下，他怎么喝啤酒就怎么喝它就对了。
Okay, so now we only try to drink the foam.
Okay.
Yes, because Asian people think that the foam is a best part of the tea. Yeah. So now we can drink it just like you drink the beer.
All right.
Just
and
try
also,
it.
one other thing, it's actually quite white now. It's like I don't even see the color green anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
宋代人形容这种感受像是云在口中慢慢融化的感觉。
So the people in Song Dynasty, they describe it. The feeling is like the cloud and just
Melting in my mouth.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Very unique. Very interesting.
Yeah. Thank you very much. 谢谢。
Thank you. I think that's what's very unique.
Okay, now we've experienced the traditional way, the Song Dynasty way of Chinese tea, and now maybe we can try the new way, the modern way.
So we are going back from the past, back to the present now.
Yes, and now many Chinese brands of tea are trying to explore the new trends to cater to the younger people's flavor. And now you can see this wall. They have all the different tea leaves from all over the China, because you can see something like from the Yunnan province. Yeah, so all of the places, and they all produce different types of tea.
It's very interesting. It's quite colorful. We can see white tea, flower tea, even red tea. Quite a diverse pack of teas in here.
Yeah. So now we can try the new way of making tea.
Yes, now we experienced how the tea was made in the past. Now let's see how the tea is made in the present.
Yeah. 老师你好，你给我们简单介绍一下吗？
可以啊，这个煮茶的形式看起来非常的新颖，实际上它是源起于我们唐代，这个是唐代的一个煮茶的形式。现在可以试一下，煮的是一款老的白茶。
So this is actually the way in Tang Dynasty to make the tea, and the tea leaves actually is the old white tea.
It's very interesting. It really looks like, how to say, coffee. It's like Shoshone Cafe.
Ah, like coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, because the color of it, right?
Yes, but actually the color over there looks way more darker, like a coffee, but once it's in a smaller cup, it's actually quite red.
Yeah. So maybe you can try it.
All right, cheers to that.
它有淡淡的药香味。
Oh, wow. 好喝。
Yeah, it's actually a little bit taste like the herb or
Yes.
something, right?
I think I have had this tea. 千年百花.
对，
Yeah.
陈年白
It's a aged white tea, and it's quite amazing. I'm gonna keep this cup with myself. And I also recommend to a lot of people. It's very, very good tea.
Yeah. And now here. So here is
哦，刚刚我们有稍微提到咖啡，然后这一款茶是我们的一个冷萃茶，它确实是借鉴了咖啡的一个冲凝的方式。像我们现在这个就是一个手冲咖啡的一个过程，但最终我们会把茶汤萃取出来，然后放在我们的一个玻璃器皿里面。这个器皿在元代的时候就已经出现了，也是我们把元代的器皿重新用新的材质把它复刻出来，成为 tea stone 一个品饮冰茶的一个非常新颖的形式。大家也可以试一下，有两款，一款是我们的普洱茶跟桂花的拼配，然后另外一款呢是一款茉莉花茶跟我们的闽南乌龙茶的拼配，可以搭配着这个冰球稍微试一口。
好的. So he said that this way is actually like making a pour over coffee. Yeah, so you can see that he's very familiar with when you're making coffee.
Especially, I think it's very interesting, because always our impression of making tea is with hot. It's
yeah.
like we always think like tea should be hot,
Yes.
and you need to have hot water, right? But it's the first time we see
Different.
like tea being brewed in a way with you actually it's like iced tea.
Yeah.
Iced tea in a very literal way.
So maybe you can try it.
Sure.
一款是普洱茶，然后我们少量的把茶汤倒在我们的冰球上面，然后就可以拿起我们这个杯子去品饮一下。
Wow.
So this is pu'er tea.
Pu'er tea.
It's from Yunnan province.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
from Yunnan province.
I think pu'er tea is one thing that almost every foreigner, if you ask them, do you drink tea? It's like, yeah, of course, I drink pu'er tea.
Yeah.
Wow, very refreshing. It has a very good taste, and I think it's really good drink for summer. Yeah, I think I thought that's gonna be my favorite, but I think I have a new favorite tea actually. Oh, very nice. I think I'm gonna take this cup with myself. And this one?
这个是小香槟，它是
小香槟
乌龙茶跟茉莉花茶的拼配，然后里面会有淡淡的兰花香，还有茉莉花香，但还有本身乌龙茶的一个香气在。
So this is actually the tea mixed with oolong tea and
茉莉花茶。
and jasmine tea. So it makes like it's called a little champagne. Maybe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, because I think in the past, the tea that they were making was very unique, one specific taste, because they want to preserve the original taste of this tea. But in the present, it's basically a new type of alchemy that combines different versions of tea, different flavors, and it makes it even more unique. And so I think that's actually, it's as a young person, I think I'm young. I think it's very good, and it's definitely something that I'm gonna come back and try to have it, in my daily life.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much. 谢谢.
谢谢.
Yeah. So how do you feel about today's experience?
I would say quite. It was a learning experience, but at the same time very enjoyable. It's very hard to have the opportunity to experience 1,000 years of history and culture in one day, and I think I'm very lucky today to have this opportunity to come and learn about different eras, different cultures, how the tea was made in the past, what it represented to different group of people, and how the tea is prepared in the current day, which is focusing much more on new consumptions, on attracting more youths to integrate tea drinking in their daily life. It's now becoming a part of our modern culture, and the tradition is continuing, which is very good both for we can have a very good relaxing time, and it's a very peaceful experience, but at the same time, it's good for economy.
Yeah, and for the viewers of our shows today, so if you have the chance, we sincerely welcome you to Beijing to experience the Chinese tea for yourself. And that's all for today's show. And so see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.